Welcome to the regular school board meeting, July 30th, 2019. Roll call, please.
Treasurer Anderson.
Here.
Director Johnson.
Here.
Chair Goggins.
Here.
Director Azer.
Here.
And Clerk Olgaszewski is here.
Thank you very much. Agenda adjustments this evening.
Well, we have one. I'd like to move item 5E, Roseville Area Middle School Bid Awards, to the action items section as item 7C, please.
Excellent. Do I have a motion to approve the proposed change?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any announcements or comments this evening?
No. No, sorry.
Thank you. We have some community input this evening. We have Mr. Greg Urban, who is going to speak to us. You can please come to the podium.
Sure.
And state your name and address before you begin speaking. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi there, thank you. I'm Greg Urban, owner of Urban Companies, 3781 Labor Road, Vadnais Heights, Minnesota 55110. I want to thank everyone for being here, listening to me. I'm a council member in Vadnais Heights, so I know sometimes 7 o'clock on beautiful evenings like this in July, maybe there's better places to be, but I appreciate you guys being here. Also appreciative of the contracts we're already doing for you guys. We're also appreciative of Krause Anderson. They're a great company, and we've done probably 100 projects for them over the last 15 or so years. So when I'm here tonight, as you know, there's been letters going back and forth in regards to some issues with the bid award for the Roseville Middle School. And I know there's some plans attached. I brought these. You guys may or may not have seen them. These were previously attached to some of the emails, but I just wanted to run through what my concerns were with that. And I do understand that as of right now, it's being recommended that be awarded to me. But I want to just run through this real quick and just kind of go through my letter. I know I'm not going to get any response as part of protocol, but just as part of the ad for bids, we're given a list of places where we can obtain plans and specifications from. And that's the smaller 8.5 by 11 sheet on the front. And they're all supposed to show the same plans. It's just a variety of places where they can be accessed. And I happen to get my plans off the Minnesota Builders Exchange, which is listed on there. Other people got their plans from different people on here. And obviously in public bidding, everybody's supposed to get the same set of plans and information to bid off of to bid the same project. And the issue we have here is, as you can see, I have two plan sheets attached, and as you can see, there's different, the top, the larger sheet on top, the plan which I had to bid off of has no shading on the track area. And this was also sent out via PDF. It's actually a little more apparent on the PDF, but if you go to the second large page, the track is shaded with two different shades, as well as an area of the shot put off to the west of the track. And that shading is supposed to match the shading in the symbol legend off to the right to allow you to know, okay, this is going to get a special material. And in this case, the second page, which I did not have for my bidding purposes, indicated that this was going to get 2 inches of a very special and very expensive soil out of Moline, Illinois. The value of the soil and the hauling and installation is in the area of $100,000. So that obviously, because I had the front page to do my bids, I didn't have any shading to know that I'm supposed to include that in my bid based on what's in the legend. So right now our bid is approximately $170,000 less than the low bidder. And this here, so really, had I included this, we would have been still $70,000 low, which is fine, and it's a local project, and we like working for Roseville Schools. Again, we have 2 projects going right now. Hopefully do many more in the future. So we had in our letters indicated we'd like to see one of two things happen. A, we'd be awarded the project, and after award, we would then make a claim for these extra costs. We feel that very reasonable. We're not trying to pull anything over on anybody. Just two different sets of plans were distributed, and we got the one that didn't show this to be on there. In that case, the district is still saving $70,000 over the next bidder. In my role as a council member and liaison to our Parks Commission in Vadnais Heights, $70,000 goes away a good way on a playground renovation, a small one. So that was one solution, and that does appear to be the recommendation at this point. Secondly would be to rebid this division, given that there's about 4 months before this work would need to be completed, which is plenty of time. It does appear from the packet that there's divisions where no bids were received, such as metal fabrication, where there needs to be a rebid anyways on certain divisions. So, we would certainly be fine with either of those, but I did want to come here and just explain, our situation and how we've gotten to this point. And, to the extent it is awarded as recommended right now, we do intend to make a claim. And again, the claim will be in the area of $100,000. But this is the reason why, and it's not me trying to get over on anybody, it's just to cover our costs of this very expensive soil that needs to be hauled all the way from Moline, Illinois. So, again, we're appreciative of the work we have so far, appreciative of Krause Anderson and their efforts. Again, a great company, and we ask for your understanding in this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Urbane. Okay, we are moving to the consent agenda with the omission of item E. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Todd approve and
Second.
Curtis second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, that moves us to reports and non-action items.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
do we have someone to read the
Yes.
gifts today?
Would you care to read them?
I would be very happy to.
Thank you.
So once again, we have some gifts that our generous community have given to the schools. We have a gift of cash to use for field trips by Edgerton Elementary School. Actually, two donors donated that. The first, the Friends of Maplewood Nature Center in Maplewood, and the second, the Girls on the Run group. Both donated cash for that field trip use. We also have a gift of cash for field trip grants and supplies for Parkview Center School from the Parkview Center School PTSA, so thank you to them. We have a gift of 200 children's board books for the Early Childhood Screening Program for the Kids in Need program at the Parkview Center School, by the Kids in Need program at the Parkview Center School, so thank you. We have a gift of funds to be used for the Skating Center East Wall update at the Roseville Area High School by the Roz Girls Hockey Booster Club. We also have a gift of funds to support Meals on Wheels from the Como Park Lutheran Church, Meals on Wheels based out of the district. We also have a gift of some personal care items for just students in need from Kathy Ramont and Do Good Roseville, again, just generally for the district use. And then finally, also for district use, and again for Meals on Wheels, a gift of funds from the St. John's Catholic Church of Little Canada. So again, thanks everyone, all the organizations, individuals involved in that for your generosity and your evident support for our kids and our families and our school community. Thank you.
We are very fortunate to have such a generous community. Now we're ready for reports and non-action items, and we have the first one we have this evening is facilities update with Director Sherry Thompson.
Good evening. I just want to give you a few updates as far as our construction projects go. The first thing, of course, in your board packet tonight, you had the bid package. You'll be discussing the bid package for the middle school, and you've already taken action on the high school on bid packet 3B. A couple of comments related to the bids. You will see by the bid tally sheets when we did go out and bid the high school, we are hoping for an increased number of bidders, or more bidders than we actually had. Some of that, actually, Kraus Anderson has done a lot of work on that and talked to contractors to see, why we had a reduced turnout. And I think that what they have found is that really due to the complexity of the work, there's so much work out there. Due to the complexity of 3B, which is a lot of demo and remodeling, adding the new auditorium, probably it's preferable to have new construction work based on, compared to the extensive remodeling that was involved. So we did see a decreased number of bids. I think we're happy with the bids that came in. We're doing more LT, long-term facility maintenance work at the high school than was originally planned. We were going to hold off on some of that until a later time. But I think overall, I think we have a good bid package that you took action on tonight. We did adjust a few work scopes. I will say that none of the work scopes that we're looking at adjusting have affect any student programming. So I think that that's very positive. As far as the bidders on the high school, I think every time that we have that you have taken action on a bid package, we've reported the number of union versus non-union contracts awarded. So in the case of the high school, there were three contracts awarded to non-union contractors. Actually, two of them are suppliers, and then one is a supplier and contractor. Looking at the then moving to the middle school. On the middle school, we also remain on budget there. We did also award two contracts there that were non-union contractors, and the remainder were union contractors. We'll talk a little bit more about those bids when we get to that agenda item as far as the middle school goes. I'll move on to a little bit of the summer construction updates. There's a lot of activity going on. We're in the height of that summer slam. A lot of activity occurring. I think some of the positives where we're seeing some completion is our outdoor facilities. If you've noticed, like at the high school, you've come by the tennis courts and the turf field, the track area. That looks great. So that's ready for our fall athletes, which is very exciting. Sometimes I know when I come to work in the morning, I see like what's not complete. Right? You see the major project, the new science wing, which is still underway. So it's nice to take note of those things that are complete. The construction projects at the elementaries, Little Canada, of course, major building overhaul over there and the additions. So that will be ready this fall. And then we have the remodeling and additions also at Central Park, Edgerton, and Brimhall. So that is also underway. Everything is on track to be ready for the opening of school. Not to say that it won't be a very busy time, and that there's a lot of things to be completed before that happens. So again, that's very exciting. Parkview Center School. I think the last time that the board had accepted bids on Parkview. Back in May. You also accepted the rebidding of the flooring this evening. I just want to give the board an update because there had been discussions and we had taken out anything related to the pool facilities at Parkview. So we have had discussions with the swim and dive groups and there is consensus with the groups. I think we've come to resolution on that. We have talked with Kraus Anderson, with LSE. Jenny Tuttle's with me this evening, so we will be scaling back somewhat on the remodeling in the locker rooms there. We will comply with all ADA requirements, but we are able to make the improvements as far as lighting, acoustical and whatnot in the pool area. And we will be going out to bid to widen and then also deepen that diving well. And that's also within budget. So I think that's a good resolution. And I think that everyone is supportive of that. And so as we move forward on that, those items will come back to you. We're looking at those projects, the pool project starting up in March or at the end of March once the swim seasons are over. And then Jenny's going to provide you with an update as far as on Fairview drawings. I think things are progressing nicely there thanks to the work of many, including Karen Shaw at Fairview. We are also, we've completed a traffic study. We're working with the county and the city, looking at traffic patterns and traffic in the area and looking at the overall site plan in hopes of being able to go out and hold another community update this fall to bring everyone up to speed. So I think a lot of things are coming together nicely there. And do you need to
Yeah, I'll
connect?
just sneak this out so I can.
The dongle.
Thank you.
So yes, I will actually hand it over to Jenny and she can talk a little bit more about Fairview and then our construction timelines for phase 3 because we have more elementaries coming down the pipe this fall. We will be bidding in September and starting construction in October.
Thank you. Should be showing up there any second now. There we go. Well,
Oh, there you go.
and it was just on my screen till it shut down. There we go. Okay. Well, we're so excited to come back and be able to share with you all the progress that we've made on the Fairview project. A quick update just on the schedule. As you know, we are currently in the construction document phase, which we started in July, and we will be doing construction documents all the way through November, going out to bid this winter. Starting construction the spring of 2020, right? So just wanted to give you a quick update on that schedule. The last time we shared some of this information with you was in regards to some of the work that had been done on the site plan with some of the community input that we received on access and circulation. So a lot of improvements that have been made. This is the last diagram that was shared at a community meeting where you could see the existing building shown in that shadow, and you can see the new building. Just again, a reminder, we are further away from neighbors than the existing building is on both sides, and have, with input, added some circulation on both the north and south, I'm sorry, is it north and south? No, east and west ends, to reduce traffic from just one single side, kind of splitting it between the two. This is a rendering that we shared with you that was done early on, I think in the as part of our design development pricing package, right? Some of the images that you saw. We have been continuing to work on those. These are more recent massing studies that we're working on that reflects both some of the programmatic changes that have been done with the different groups occupying Fairview and keeping in line with our cost estimates. So trying to keep the form, again, very simple, utilizing precast materials, but we think beautiful, nice proportions, clear entries, and certainly a focus on daylighting and entry, right? So we have views from around the site. These are in development. You'll see further development on these as we go through the process. Yes.
Madam Chair, I have a question that actually is potentially more for, I think, Superintendent Scully. And at one point, we had just questioned, maybe wistfully, whether we wanted to change the name of the structure to something like Fairview Education Center versus Community Center.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
think the
something we-
naming, we will discuss as we get closer to new building opening. I think-
Excellent. The only reason I asked,
I
just
look
to
forward
share.
to those discussions, but I do think, I'm glad you bring that up, because I think some of the reasoning behind that is that, when this went from becoming a junior high at the time to a community center, it was fairly typical to call something a community center that served the purposes that are in there now. Now people have a different idea what a community center is, so we might want to rethink that phrase.
The only reason I bring it up is, how far do we carry the current nomenclature and even plans and drawings versus make some kind of a switch to start to get people thinking about the name differently? That's the only reason I asked tonight.
We can
Thank
do
you, sir.
that sooner or later.
I'll leave it to you, but it's just a question. Thank you.
Okay, so we just wanted to share kind of an update of where we've gone with the exterior design. This does reflect some of the changes in footprint and square footage that have occurred in the building. So this brings that up to speed. And you'll see more materials and images at an upcoming meeting. Some of the work that was done more recently in the site planning, this is an actual construction document in progress. It's a 90-degree rotation from the previous site images you saw. So here north is actually up, that's County Road B to the north. And then your east and west access points. You can see in this diagram very clearly defined some of the loops that are designed to bring traffic through. Both the bus, the parent dropping off for early childhood, and then seniors or other community members using the drop off at the door here. This is primarily to the east service, right, backing into this service dock here. So
And is that a definite road now?
we are showing it as being included in the documents at this point. We have some alternates for pricing incorporated in, but it is designed in and we'll have pricing for everything. And then I move from that to our plan updates. This is the first level, and pardon the bright colors, but this is a clear way, not representative of any flooring material, I promise you. But this is to really indicate programmatic use. I think it makes the plan a little easier to read. So you can see that main front entry door to the south brings you right in. You'll have an administrative area on both the left and right sides as you come into that main vestibule. The vestibule on your right-hand side is the one that serves community education. There's also a desk incorporated into that space that has a window to that vestibule and lobby that would allow someone to basically serve as the table that you currently have at Fairview that checks people in. And that would allow large groups of people to move through quickly without having to really move through the community ed offices at all, but allow people to have multiple tasks, right? So an efficient and flexible kind of scenario, I think.
And if my eye color is right, then all those little squares are actual restrooms?
Yes, the aqua fresh color is a restroom, because programmatically, when we meet with groups, everybody wants to know where the bathrooms are.
Sure.
And so this makes it very easy to see. All of your early childhood classrooms all have their own restroom within the classroom. So that'll be a big upgrade for all of those, and pre-K as well as ECSE. The ECSE bathrooms are a little larger so that they can have a changing table in them as well. We have a gracious commons space, so when students arrive by bus or parent in the morning, they come into an open commons space. We're working on some display for student work right in this area. This is a new, this pink space is actually a parent's room, similar to like an ECFE kind of space. This is new to the program, but we figured out a way to get it to work within the footprint, and it really meets some of your community and early learning desires. Some of those red spaces are small office or small group breakout spaces. Those will be used by specialists, by itinerant staff, and small groups of students.
Quick question.
Yes.
It might have been discussed at one point in the past, but with totally new construction, if we're talking new bathrooms, did we discuss the topic of gender-neutral bathrooms, I believe, or?
We did, and we have a combination of both gender-neutral and group bathrooms incorporated into the plan, and that is both because of space restrictions and just a desire within the group to have a combination. So you can see the many single users around the building, right? So you have some single users here. You have family locker rooms, which are essentially gender-neutral locker rooms. Single users here and out in the hall. So anywhere you do have group bathrooms, you also have a gender-neutral option. And you'll see when we get to the second floor for RAWs and adult ABE, you have more of those gender-neutral options. In the ECS, you also have that large muscle room and family liaison space. The red really indicates some administrative or staff functions within programs. Community ed, we have the offices directly off of that space, a shared workroom for the floor. So each floor has a workroom. So again, another efficiency in redesigning. We're able to consolidate some of those services and really get some efficient use out of the plans. Moving down that Main Street hallway, your first hallway is the one that really brings you more to the seniors area. So you have your main senior center room with an office for, I believe we have, how many was it, 4 or 5 staff within this space. Storage room, you see this is the pool table shown right in the plan. And then we're showing a door from that room into the senior store, which will be accessible both from the senior room and from the main hallway. So they have some great frontage for sales. On the corner is a shared space. It's a shared classroom, but you'll notice there's a double door, so we have a large opening from the senior room that really would also allow this to be an expansion of the senior program. But with those doors allows the building overall to have some flexible use of that. Across the hall, we have our dining hall that's divisible right now into 2. We have an operable wall that is an alternate. We're hoping the bids come in good and we can buy that wall to separate those spaces with the flexible wall. New kitchen you're aware of. Your locker rooms are all entered off of this hallway right over here. So this is kind of the connection between more the athletic hallway and the seniors hallway. So you have the entry into the female, male, and family or gender neutral locker room. All of our services are located over on this east side with your receiving area. Some of your curriculum storage and sorting happens. This is part of teaching and learning, and then mechanical space. Any question? Oh, I should mention your pool also. So your pool, we're showing it's the 4-lane pool with all of the deck space, an option for, we know starter blocks won't be used for your community, but your high school would have the option to practice here as well if they wanted to. So we thought we'd leave those as an option. Office and storage space that goes with that. And then we're showing right now a window so that you could have some spectators gathering out here in this open reception space. Any questions on the first floor, and we could run to the upstairs. I should share that we have made some very recent changes to this area and how the number of showers and location of showers and restrooms, and those were all really in response to requests from the pool committee and members that were involved there. So I think I counted, we've had something like 12 meetings with different groups on the program in the last phase. So Okay, so I do have enlargements of each of those areas if you wanted any detail. But moving to the second floor, you can see you come up the main stair and elevator. Everything in green is the ABE program. So you can see we have the credit recovery is still shown, our classrooms. We have maintained the number of classrooms while reducing some of our square footage. And we've done that by reducing classroom size on a couple areas where we were told some of the class sizes aren't a full classroom, and so we've reduced square footage there. You can see these restrooms up in this area, and both ABE and FOS are the gender neutral restrooms. We've consolidated those in FOS to one area, which is closer to where the administration is. So now for FOS, you'd come into this area, administration's right here. Students would buzz in, be within their zone until they are seen by administration going out, right? We have another workroom up here, group restrooms. You can see the red here is the administration for ABE. We also have a touchdown space, which has been integrated into the program. And this is really to help create a more flexible work environment, as well as to provide an alternative space for any teachers who might not be able to stay in their room all day, both for ABE. So I think particularly for ABE, these teachers share their rooms, and so there'll be different courses going on throughout the day. So this gives them an alternative place to work when they're not in that space. So again, a way to really get greater utilization out of those classrooms. You have your teaching and learning large training room, which has been able to be maintained. And again, this operable wall is another one that we're hoping we can buy with the bids. We've got it listed as an alternate, and that's a good one for you all to be able to make that decision as you see those numbers. The other orange spaces are teaching and learning. So we've kept this hallway a really highly visible hallway, so that any students or anyone who wanders down here, we do have a reception desk that faces out with glass looking out, and windows, so this will always feel very open and visible. And then a work area for your teaching and learning staff, conference rooms that are shareable for the whole building as well. And then all this gray is mechanical. We've tried to incorporate daylighting into as many of these spaces as we can, either through direct daylighting or, like you see here, as borrowed lights from the exterior wall. And again, we have some enlargements of all of these spaces where you can kind of see the media center layout, and computer lab layout, and science. We have a science room here for FOS that brings it up to standards with the high school and the middle school, fully capable to meet chemistry curriculum. Yes.
So that one spot of Fred that you were saying, if the teachers don't have an office in their, is that where their
Yes.
lunchroom would be as well?
Well, right now we have a primary lunchroom downstairs, a staff lounge, but there was a lot of discussion about wanting to be able to eat upstairs as well.
Mhm.
And so that is a space that would meet that need as well. And so we talked about trying to work in, right now this is all furniture within this space, but there's been discussion about working refrigerator space into this room as well.
Some place for them to do their prep work if their classroom's being used.
Yes.
Important.
Any other questions?
That's a great. I like this schematics, I like it, yeah.
Great, good. As for the Phase 2 elementaries, the real update is that we have about 3 weeks until we issue construction documents on Phase 2 elementaries. And I don't have a packet to update you tonight on all of those projects because you've had a recent update. But we believe they're all on track, on budget. We are just cruising to the finish line on the documents and look forward to getting good bids on those as well.
And I think right now the timeline calls for bringing those bids to you at your second meeting in September. The date, which I can't recall right now. I want to say it's the 24th, but that may not be accurate.
So thus far, is it my understanding is we are on track on the overall timeline, and we're on budget. Is that
That's correct.
And we've had to make some modifications of some of the nice-to-haves.
Yes.
Rather than the base, we're delivering all the base. We've had to back off a little bit on some of the nice-to-haves, but we're still delivering in budget.
Yeah, we're very confident that all of the programmatic needs are being met. We've worked really hard with Director Schwab with Karen on all of the programs and making sure that spaces are being accommodated. And I think we've gotten to some good solutions with a lot of input, so.
I just meant across the board.
And
the high school,
on
middle
all of
school.
the
Yeah.
projects, yes.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
worked, yes, with our oversight committee. We have made, some decisions regarding
Yeah.
work scope, but definitely keeping that away from the commitments that we made in the bond
Mhm.
and impacts to student programming.
Thank you
Yeah.
for your very diligent work on that. I know that has been very
Mhm.
challenging as some of the bids have come in, so thank you very much.
Well, your team has been fabulous at working with us on that, so
Great.
thank you.
Any questions? Anything else you wanted to cover on that?
Yeah, I think that is it, unless there are questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you.
Okay.
I get to read
That moves us to action items. And we have 3 action items this evening with the adjustment in the agenda. The first is the long-term facilities maintenance plan.
Yes, so this is getting to be fairly routine for the board. This is an annual action item. I think this is in the past 3 years in looking at addressing the facility needs. Not only approval of the bond referendum back in November of 2017, but also to address some of the programming and facility needs, but also looking at addressing a lot of our deferred maintenance, dealing with the infrastructures of the buildings. And this is an annual action that you take. So it's a 10-year plan, and we've talked about investing, $12 million over annually into our facilities over a 10-year period. What you are actually authorizing tonight, this is your first formal action related to the levy process. The levy that you will approve the preliminary in September, and then the final in December. So this is really kind of the first item. And you're authorizing the $12 million investment in the facilities, even though it's a 10-year plan. It impacts the fiscal year 21. So this is starting for taxes payable in 2020 for the fiscal year 2021. And obviously, this plan is fluid as far as what we invest, looking at prioritization, what's going on with our facilities. But we're keeping that cap of the annual investment at $12 million.
Madam Chair. I would like to make a motion that the long-term facilities maintenance capital expenditure plan for fiscal years 2020 to 2029 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions, comments? Okay. And just to clarify, it's at 10 million because we're using 2 million for the lease levy to allow us to do the Fairview
Yes,
facility.
it will drop to 10 million, yes, to offset the funds that will be needed to finance the Fairview building.
Anything else? All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure.
Okay. The next item we have is a resolution approving trustee appointment to the Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Fund Plus. Dr. Sicoli.
So we had discussed it, I think it was maybe the last study session, about, we were contacted by Kirk Schneiderwin of MSBA. We are a district that uses this fund a lot, the services, so we were contacted about having a trustee on their board, and we discussed, and I think it's Director Johnson's willingness to do it that we are here to approve tonight through this resolution.
Do I have a motion?
I approve. I would like to make a motion to approve his willingness, Curtis Johnson's willingness to be a part of this group.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
As well, I guess just as part of this is a resolution. I guess I would like to make a comment that if it's okay with the board, the willingness of the board to not read this entire, resolution. I think it's pretty matter of fact.
Yes.
If we can do so legally, I second the motion to dispense with the reading of the entire resolution.
Okay.
So now we're going to vote on that first.
All right, so we vote on...
I just threw it in because part of the
Sure,
discussion.
yeah.
Sorry.
on dispensing with the reading of the resolution. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Now we have to do since it's a resolution, we'll need to do a roll call vote.
Director Azer.
Aye.
Director Johnson.
Aye.
Treasurer Anderson.
Aye.
Chair Goggins.
Aye.
And Clerk Boguszewski votes aye.
Thank you, Curtis. Great. Okay, that moves us to the item we have moved down here from the consent agenda, the Roseville Area Middle School bid awards. And we have Sherry Thompson here, and
Me again.
Kraus Anderson
Thank you.
represented for the evening.
So, yes, so I would like to introduce you to Dustin Phillips. Dustin is also, you're probably used to seeing Jason Peterson. Dustin has been working on our buildings as well. He is also a senior project manager with Kraus Anderson. So he's here with me tonight. And again, he's very familiar with all of our projects. So I'll kind of walk through the process as far as the middle school. And he'll provide the technical expertise that we need.
Sure. Thank you very much for that.
So you do have before you, and I want to point a couple things out as far as an action to accept bids for Roseville Area Middle School. I do want to point out that there actually is a typo in there under fire suppression on page 3 of the cover memo. The base bid should read $322,000 and an alternative $5,000 with a bid total of $327,000. So the total bid package for this is $16,417,872. This does keep us, again, it was a typo, and this does keep us within our budget on the building. The one thing I think that I would like to comment on, and thus the reason that this was pulled off the consent agenda, is the earthwork, the work scope related to the earthwork. And I guess the commentary that I have is, obviously as a public entity, we are required to follow the Minnesota procurement laws, the bid laws. So we, and we've worked with Kraus Anderson as our construction manager to administer that. As the bids, or actually the bid documents, were posted to I square foot.
That's correct.
Hey, I know what that means now. So it's basically a site that holds the bid documents. It's a central site. We have other, and you can comment on this as far as the Builder Exchange, other entities that can tap into that.
That is correct. So there are builders exchanges, and I believe it's on a form that might have been handed to you earlier that lists out the various sites that contractors can pull down documents from. In our instruction to bidders documents, it also states that if you need to get access to drawings, you can download them directly from I square foot. So as a construction manager, what we do is we load our drawings on the I square foot, and then the builders exchanges pull down from that to distribute as needed from there. But we load documents on one primary source, and from there it goes out to the contractors.
Okay, thank you. So, and obviously, and then there are also times throughout a bid process, because I know there are pre-construction meetings and questions come up or clarifications. And I know in the case of the earthwork, there were 3 addendums that were issued. I believe addendum 1 addressed specifically the engineered soil. So there was an addendum, not only a drawing, but also supporting documentation that's way too technical in the architectural world for me to address. That was issued. At the time of the bids, all of our bidders, when the bids do come in, they are required not only to report a number, obviously submit a bid, but they also have to acknowledge the fact that they have received and reviewed all addendums. That is part of the bid process. If those addendums aren't acknowledged, it's an incomplete bid. So it's thrown out. It's just what's required under the bid law. So the bids were submitted. We were thrilled with the initial results, obviously, and happy with the contractors that had the low bids. That was on July 18th. I know last week, I believe when Kraus Anderson was putting together the recommendation letter, the owner recommendation letter, I believe an issue arose regarding the earthwork. And some dispute as far as what the documents being reviewed had stated. I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it was a technical difficulty with the builder's exchange. But I know that as a school district, and we have consulted with our legal counsel, we are bound to comply with the bid laws. And I think there's an issue, number one, without changing a work scope, it's very difficult for you to accept a bid and then accept a change order later to add cost to that project when the scope of the project hasn't changed. And I think that would put us in a very difficult position with the other 4 bidders on the project, and it's illegal. So that was unfortunate, to say the least, for the bidder and for the school district, because obviously we want to be fiscally responsible, but again, we need to be compliant with the state, with the statutes. Is there anything that you would like to add? So, now we are recommending, the administration is recommending, that you do accept the low bid on the earthwork. Actually, it's a combined bid on earthwork, landscaping, and a
Earthwork and retaining wall.
and a retaining wall. Yeah.
Correct.
And that bid was submitted by G Urban Companies.
Along with the recommendation to accept all the other
Yes,
bid
with all the
areas
others.
here. A little bit.
Yes.
Okay, before we have discussion, is there a motion to approve the bids as proposed? Do we want to have discussion first?
I think we should make a motion first.
All right, then I need anyone would like to move that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, now discussion. Comments, questions, concerns?
So then, just to be clear, if I may ask just a clarifying question. So if we accept this bid, then G Urban Companies, if they decide to, they can what is the next step that they could do? Bring it to litigation to add charges? Is that what it is? Or can you explain that again?
So we wouldn't accept a change order because it is the work scope that was bid.
Mm-hmm.
So we would be awarding the work as just described in the documents and was bid out. We would award that work to G Urban Companies because we have made the offer G Urban Companies did have the opportunity to withdraw their bid. And again, that's that's where we're confined. Those are the options. We need to work within the parameters that we have,
Mhm. Understood.
unfortunately. So, yes.
Understood, thank you.
Just a clarifying question. If I look at the document that was given to us earlier, there's like a little bubble around the two areas that indicate that engineered soil are required. They look clear in the document provided to us and clear in the diagram. So they in essence have the same markings in both spots. And then if I understand correctly, there's details that are in writing that are referenced in those legends
Yes.
that are then provided in the documents.
For
So
the
if
addendum
people
one.
looked at the addendum 1 and looked at the legend, they would in fact then be directed to a written description. And does that written description include the need for re-engineered soil?
So the reason for the recommendation as put is because the legend on both documents matches what is on the drawing. So there's a argument that's being made that's over the legend on how it looks on one drawing versus another, but the legend matches whether you look at one or the other, the legend matches the drawing at hand. So at a minimum, the bidder would have had the requirement to raise a question prior to bid or bid the more stringent of the options that are shown on the drawings, which in this case, the legend matches the drawing, so that is why we're saying it should have been part of the base bid.
And the reference in the legend goes to a written description of the
No,
requirement?
the reference in the legend would match up to the rest of the document, so the colors that are on the document or the shadings that are on the document.
And yeah, how it references the C50.
Correct, all
right?
references further
So it does.
details. That is correct.
That is
It's-
detailed.
And that further detail, does that include the need for engineered soil?
That's correct.
I see. Any other questions or comments? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, we've approved the recommendation as presented.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any board reports this evening?
I've got just a quick one. I had the opportunity a couple of weeks back, I think it was on one of the hottest days of the summer, I think it was Friday. But I attended Harambe's first community barbecue and picnic. And I have to say, I was very impressed with the turnout that I saw there on such a hot day. There was a dunk tank. I would have loved to have gotten in line to be a part of it, actually. Maplewood Fire Department showed up. Joe's Sporting Goods, as people may remember, is Harambe neighbor. They were there with kind of an interactive exhibit for kids. And I was just, again, impressed with that, and I hope it becomes an annual tradition. What Principal Smith did, his staff, and the entire Harambe community. I mean, I was just really impressed, and I hope it continues. But I just wanted to mention that. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I was able to attend a few things, but nothing was more impressive in our month since our last time together. Rosetown Playhouse Newsies, starring our own Aaron Easer, who was remarkable. In addition to Aaron, there were 100-ish plus
127.
127
Total.
member cast, and they weren't just standing around. They were everywhere and singing and dancing, and it was really quite an impressive performance. And so for those who missed that, I'm really sorry, because it's definitely worth your time. But fortunately, Rosetown Playhouse does do these things annually, so catch the next one next year. Attended the League of Women Voters Roseville, had their annual brews and book reviews. So you actually go to a local brewery and you bring your favorite book and you talk about why it's the best book ever. And at the end, everyone gets a list of books to read for the rest of the summer. So it's very cool. I was able to attend the Cucumber Crunch at Parkview, which celebrates the Farm to Lunch Week. And so with Sue, she was there. So, Assistant Superintendent Jenny Lake was there, along with a cast of hundreds. What's really impressive is, you throw out the idea of, oh, we're going to feed kids, vegetables, and they're going to love that. And these kids loved these cucumbers and these veggies, and they've been getting these fresh vegetables all summer, and so that's just like insanely cool. 916 had a really neat thing. It was my first time attending this, so I have to read this because I'm going to get it wrong otherwise. We had 3 students that were part of the 916 Career and Tech Center's Construction Occupations Program. They built a house, okay, and they sold the house for a little over $300,000, and it is a really nice house. I had the opportunity to attend their open house and go through it and talk to the homeowners and talk to some of the people who built it, and some of the teachers, and the amount of work that these kids put into it. From they do the design, they do the interior, they do the architecture, the interior design, construction, everything is just absolutely remarkable. So really happy that we're part of that program. And that's it for now. Sorry. Roseberry High School cheerleaders, okay, broke camp while we were away, and when they go to camp with other cheerleaders from different school districts, and so they compete at the end, and so they receive the Most Improved Award and the Top Banana Award. Okay, now I'm done.
First a comment, then one thing. The comment is, I'm so glad that we appointed Curtis to the Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Fund Plus board so that he knows what to do with his time. I applaud you, sir, in your involvement. It's really great. The only thing I wanted to say wasn't so much a report as a pre-port, just reminding us and our attendees and viewers that this coming Sunday, August 4th afternoon, is the Canadian Days Parade that some, if not most of us, will be walking in. So bring your families out and have fun on the parade route as we come by, and we'll wave at you and give you a chance to see us in all our casual glory. That's it.
The only thing I wanted to mention is for anybody interested in filing for school board, that opened today, and it runs through August 13th. So if you wish to file, just go onto the Ramsey County website, the election portion, and it has specifics on how to do so. Superintendent, would you have a report this evening?
Well, first of all, we are hoping for good weather for the Canadian Days Parade in Little Canada on Sunday. Facilities projects, I'd just like to comment on that. Again, thanking our community for passing the bond referendum in November 2017 that allowed these projects to happen. And as Chair Goggins alluded to earlier in the meeting, so far the projects are on time and on budget, but it hasn't been easy because costs in the construction industry have increased significantly, and we have some pretty complicated projects too, especially at Roseville Area High School with the remodeling. So we did have to look at how do we get the things we need to deliver on, as Chair Goggins said, and we successfully have done that. And maybe some things that would have been nicer or nicer ways of doing some things we had to say no to. But so far it is working out, and I applaud and have enjoyed working with the team, not just within our district, but the many people involved, but also the outside organizations that we have contracted with for these projects. So hope that continues. I'm very encouraged with the way things are progressing, and of course we also look forward to the improvements that will be done before school starts. Thank you.
Okay, having completed the agenda before the board, I adjourn the meeting.